I'm Susan. Welcome to Tea and Games. Tea hot. The tea today is something I haven't had before. I mean, I had it this past weekend, but before that, no. I just kind of stumbled onto it and it's interesting and yummy. It is, and because I don't want to get the title wrong, it is Yorkshire Tea Malty Biscuit Brew. And it says it tastes like tea and biscuits. And I thought that was really interesting, but I was kind of skeptical. But I got the box and I tried it, and it does taste like tea and biscuits. Not like Southern American biscuits, but biscuits in the British sense, meaning cookies. Like if you dipped a shortbread cookie into a strong cup of tea, it would taste like this. And it smells like it too. You just smell it and you go, lovely. This may be, maybe not the best tea I've ever had, but I think that this might top the list of coziest tea I've had. Anyhow, we have a little bit of a PeliCon postscript here that I want to get to right off the top. And I appreciate all of y'all who sat through the long PeliCon video. Sorry about that. And welcome to new subscribers. I'm glad you're here. Casual channel. My husband Robert and I are casual weekend board gamers. And this is not professional. I get no free stuff from publishers. My opinions are my own. I picked this up, you may recall, at PeliCon. And what I thought I was getting was Turn and Taxi. And I thought this is just like some kind of little subtitle thing. Because sometimes games have little subtitle things. But it turns out this is actually what I bought, not this. This is the name of the expansion for Turn and Taxi. And you may think, oh, wow, messed up. But actually, I didn't mess up. In the sense that I still got something I can play. Exactly like what... It's not Turn and Taxi. So in that sense, I did mess up. I didn't get what I was aiming for. But Glanz und Gloria, see, Glanz und Gloria, which in English they translated as Power and Glory, though that is not an exact translation. Glanz und Gloria is basically a standalone game. It's just missing the meeples. And I knew when I opened the box and looked inside this, I mean, it was otherwise pristine. The cards were still in shrink. The little token thingies hadn't been punched, but there were no meeples. And I knew this game had meeples. So I always thought, I need to sub in some meeples to play the game. And if I like it, then I can like buy some house meeples that will be dedicated to this. Because these are little houses or post offices actually here. But Glanz und Gloria is basically a standalone game. The only thing that you need from the base game to play this are the tokens, the meeples, the little houses, which I had always planned on supplying myself. So nothing has really changed except for the fact that this is a different game than the one I thought. And it really is actually different. The cards are different. The board is different. The gameplay is different. Literally the only thing that's the same between this and the other game is that you use those little house meeples and you build postal routes. And that is pretty much the only thing that is in common with this game and the other one. So I got something good. I got something good and playable, even though it is an expansion. It is not listed in Board Game Stats and on BGG as a standalone expansion because it doesn't have any meeples in it. And that is literally the only reason that this is not a standalone game. So yeah, you get yourself some meeples or some little houses and you're good to go. And we will just sub in something here. And if we like the game, I'll get some house meeples that will be dedicated to this thing that will live in this box. If we don't like it, we've still got something that's completely complete that we could pass on to somebody else. Preferably maybe somebody that has the base game, but we haven't played it yet. I've been translating the rule sheet for it, which has been fun because I was using Google and it had like weird phrases, things about, oh, the sunrise and the snails. Just like random sentences like at the end or dropped into the translation. It was just very, very strange. And I didn't activate the AI translation either. So yeah, I'm still working on cleaning up that rule sheet a little bit. And I do have the base game rules. I did download the base game rules for the base game. And before anybody suggests that I hunt on BGG for rules for Glands and Gloria, I don't have a BGG account, and anytime you tell me, oh, there are rules on BGG, it's always a link that's basically, you have to be logged in to use it. So since I can't log in, and I don't see a point in getting an account just to download a rules thing every once in a blue moon. So I'm happy using BG Stats because that's what I would mostly use BGG for, and it taps the BGG database. So I'm very happy with BG Stats in terms of keeping my game library, logging my games, backing everything up. And I'm pretty pleased that with what I've got here, Turn and Taxi. We'll see how pleased I am after we finally get everything translated and play it. I was hoping to be able to do that this weekend, but it just didn't quite happen. But we did play some very, very nice things this weekend. Those of you who know that we are big fans of Carcassonne, I ordered and got. Carcassonne is bringing out mini expansions called the Four Seasons, and there's spring and autumn are already out. And so I ordered the spring and autumn tiles, and we played both of those. Now, you could probably just swap these into the base game, and just for a little bit of variety, because the tiles are lovely, and they are made specifically for the base game. The rule sheet says there's not going to be any official rules for making these tiles work in their own specific ways with other expansions. So if you get the tiles and you use them with other expansions besides like just the base game and the Abbot and River or something like that, then you're going to have to house rule it. But let me show you what spring looks like in the city of Carcassonne. Look at that. See the little pink tree? It kind of has a white tree of Gondor sort of look to it, except it's pink, probably a peach tree. And here is more orchard in spring, blooming. The monastery is surrounded by blooming gardens. And that's the thing, all of these tiles have flowers on them. Like, for instance, this tile here has a little bridge going into the city, but you can see, aside from the little indicator here that says it's a spring tile, it's got a little flower shape there, you can see that there are little flowers dotted all around the road. So, yeah, every tile like this has flowers. And here is a forked road. So the roads would actually merge before they ended, which could be interesting. We did not have any clash of roads when we played it, but, oh, let me see here. But we had things like this. And fortunately, this and the statue tile both were drawn fairly late in the game, so we did not end up having our roads that we did not want connected. But yeah, these don't end. They are all of this is like one road. This is on this tile and that tile. There's no ending kind of thing there. And you might ask about scoring. The statue tile there's a statue tile in each of the 4 seasons, although there's only 2 seasons released. It says that there is one statue tile in each of the 4 seasons. And if your tile is vertically or diagonally adjacent to a statue tile of the 4 seasons after being placed, you may place 2 meeples on that tile in different areas. So if you've got this statue tile down and you place another thing anywhere around it, including diagonally, then you'll be able to place an extra meeple on that tile. We have lavender fields outside the city. And this looks like a little gnome home, doesn't it? It kind of looks like it should be in a fairy garden. And the city tile here, you can see there are gardens there. And here, I thought it was like children playing on a road or something next to trees in bloom, but I think they're carrying a maypole down the road toward the village, because there is a village with a maypole that looks like that tile also. Now, the way spring tiles score, aside from the statue tile, is that you can score for gardens that are on the base game, and spring tiles that are vertically or diagonally adjacent. So if you have spring tiles, if you're placing a spring tile and it is adjacent to another spring tile, you will get a point. And that includes diagonally, not just north, south, east, west. And gardens, if you can place the spring tile that's next to a garden tile, that garden's worth 3 points. So yeah, very nice. Just a little bit of extra scoring. These expansions don't seem to be rules heavy at all. They give you just a little bit of extra scoring, and the statue tile lets you place one more meeple on something. So yeah, they're a very rules light expansion. We also got Autumn, which we played, and I should add, we like all of these. We like the way they look. We like the way they played. Now, the autumn tiles score differently from the spring tiles. The statue does the same thing. Let me see if I can find the statue tile. It's always going to be a pig. I guess that goes back to what, Traders and Builders, the one with the pigs. But yeah, the pig statue will always do the same thing, which is allow you to add an extra meeple if you place a tile next to it. And it's got that whole roundabout road thing. But also you will score for things in the base game that you don't normally score for. This one is going to make you pay attention to all of those little things in the base game that you don't look at too closely unless you're playing Inns and Cathedrals. Because, I mean, Inns and Cathedrals make you look at the little buildings, because some of the little buildings, the ones with a lake next to them, are an inn. But there are various types of buildings in the base game here. I can show you here. It's not a very good reproduction, but all those little things, there's like farms and stables and cow sheds and pigsties. All of these little things here, that is how you score off of autumn tiles. For farms and stables that are vertically, horizontally, or diagonally adjacent to the autumn tile you have placed, you now receive points. You immediately receive 2 points for each of these little outbuildings here. So yeah, I think you actually score a bit more in autumn. Here is a pumpkin patch, and there is some autumn trees and a little autumn garden there. And here are trees changing color right on the edge of the city. Whoa, that just kind of flew out of my hand. Another city tile with, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to orient this so the trees aren't upside down. I think they're always going to be upside down. More autumn foliage trees. Here you have a scene. It looks like a little caravan that has stopped to have a meal in the middle of a clearing, which looks a lot like crop circles from the mini crop circle expansion. I think they kind of used maybe the same tile to put this on. Here you have a little village with a garden on it, a regular garden like the base game. So that would help you in scoring for spring tiles. If you combine spring and autumn, which would just be weird, but And 2 roads. Another city tile. This is like the one that had the pink tree, except it's got kind of a gold tree in it, an autumn tree. This just looks like a forest, and you have some roads. And then you have a field of grain and a windmill. And here, these little wonky roads are just, they just end up being really interesting when you have to place them. And we cannot decide if that's a scarecrow or a farmer. We first thought it was a scarecrow, and then we decided it was a farmer with an implement in his hand. It looks like in front of the farmer there may be a pile of leaves with a dog on it. I can't quite tell. I don't know if it's the tile or my eyes. And we have a headless horseman in a pumpkin patch with a pumpkin head. And he's got kind of like a tattered cloak and a black steed and a little short sword in his hand. The tattered cloak kind of almost looks like bat wings or something. But those are the autumn tiles, and that is how autumn scores. So we played both of those this weekend, 2 games of the base Carcassonne with autumn and the river too this time instead of the river. And if you've only played with the first river mini expansion, which is packed with the base game, it is worthwhile to pick up the expansion that has the second river in it, because the second river is nifty. It has a fork in it, so you actually have 2 ending lakes. And it plays well with inns and cathedrals because it has an inn on a small lake. And traders and, Princess and Dragon. I think it has a thing for traders. I think it has a pig herd or something for traders and builders. And it has, one of the lakes ends with a volcano next to the lake for Princess and Dragon. So River 2 plays very, very well with the first 3 expansions, major expansions of Carcassonne. Though the River 2 is bundled with Count, King, and Robber, which is one of our favorite expansions. Not the Count, really, but King, Robber, and those cult shrine tiles, we like those. I've also been playing stuff on Board Game Arena. I've been binge playing Spots solo still. After we finished up going through all the variations, it's really easy because it's a dice game and they have an automata that's just brutal to just knock out a game real quick in odd moments. So I've been doing that too, but playing it so much, both with people and solo on Board Game Arena, just had me itching to get it back to the table. And so we played that this weekend. We also got in another game of Dominion, which we are playing better and faster, though I don't think we're still really optimizing our deck building. We are horrible deck builders. I mean, I love the mechanic, but we are just like no good at optimizing that. I really feel like we aren't, but then we got into some Button Shy that I had been really looking forward to, but then when I got it, because I backed it on Kickstarter, then when I got it, there was like stuff going on and we were getting other games or playing other games and I just didn't get to it. And that is Mysticana. Mysticana is a bit different from other Button Shy releases, buttonshygames.com. They do little 18-card wallet games, which are really quite good. A lot of their games are solo, but some are multiplayer. This is different because this is what they're calling a foundation deck. This 18-card deck, which has numbers and suits. It's got Earth, Water, and Fire. And it's numbered suits, and this thing on the back kind of tells you how those suits work. Water is above fire, fire is above earth, earth is above water in terms of ranking the suits, because sometimes whether you win or lose something in terms of the gameplay doesn't just depend upon the numbers on the cards, but also upon which suit the cards are. So because this is a ranked deck of 3 suits, this is what they're calling a foundation deck. And this base game foundation deck comes with rules for 3 games that you can play with, with those cards. The first thing we played was, where is it? Here. And it has 2 rule sheets because there's 3 games on it. The first game we played was The Path Ahead. This is kind of a guessing game. Essentially, you have a discard and you have the deck, and you have to decide, you have to call whether or not the card on top is higher or lower than the card on the bottom, and you take cards if you guess wrong. And by higher or lower, I don't just mean rank, but also suit. And it's more complicated than that because there's also points cards. Player reserve, player hand. Oh, that's Sorcerer Showdown. Yeah, you have a discard pile, you have a deck. Or is it Player Showdown that has the points layout? Because we played them back to back. Sorcerer Showdown is the other one. Now, the Path Ahead can be played with 2 to 4 players. Sorcerer Showdown is a 2-player game. And then the third game that comes with the Foundation deck is Nine Perils, which we did not play. And Nine Perils is a solo game. So you have a lot of gameplay just in that 18-card Foundation deck base game wallet. So that is really kind of nice. We liked both games. I sort of say all, but we didn't play the solo. I still have a lot of solo button shot games I haven't played. I'm just falling behind because I don't play solo very often. But I also, because I backed this on Kickstarter, I also picked up 2 expansions that they were offering at the time of the Kickstarter and the expansion wallet, and that is Arcane Artifacts and Cave of Gems. We did not play Cave of Gems. It is solo, and it is an expansion you can get. But we did play Arcane Artifacts, which was trickier than the ones that came with the base game, and it includes double-sided artifact cards that you work into gameplay. That may have been the one with the points thing, but I'm getting punchy here. I have obviously not had enough tea this morning, but we played both of those. We like the games that come with the base game more than the expansion. But I think we need to play the Arcane Artifacts a little bit more because we played it a couple of times and we were still kind of stumbling through it a bit. But yeah, we had a good time this weekend. It was a 3-day weekend for President's Day. We just did miscellaneous things and errands and stuff like that, and then just kind of slotted in small games as we had time. I would like to get into some more bigger games, which we have stacked up on the far end of the dining room table over there by the wall. But I wanted to bring you up to date to show you the very, very pretty Carcassonne expansions that we've gotten. Oh, that's the pig statue. A little bit less pretty than some of the other ones. And tell you about those. For those of you who are Carcassonne fans, they will be coming out with, this is supposed to be the 4 seasons, they will be coming out with summer and winter mini expansions at some point in time, and I have no idea when. And we're slowly but surely catching up on the Button Shy that we haven't played. And I also wanted to give that let y'all know, because a lot of people mentioned in comments about Turn and Taxi, because I had picked that up at PeliCon. It's not actually Turn and Taxi, but it is kind of standalone if you have meeples that you can use for it. So yeah, that's kind of a thing, and we've been working on translating that. The Glens and Gloria expansion. I think we're going to like it. I've seen some videos on how it plays, and that's been helpful also. It is not super complicated. It seems like it might be less complicated than the first game, the base game, but we shall see. And I will see y'all next time round the table. Thanks for watching. Bye.